So I was born in Taiwan in Hsinchu. I was 11 when I moved to Burnaby, BC, British Columbia in Canada, which is about outside of in Greater Vancouver in Canada. And at 15 I moved to US in San Jose. Just a normal kid. I was my parents, I would say middle class. We were in the countryside though, so I grew up, and my grandparents were whom I spent a lot of time with were both in some of the poorer parts of Taiwan. They're pretty country people. And yeah, I walked to school. It's in the 90s. Somebody that believed in me, and I can't tell if I was necessarily the savior of the family or accomplishments is what he was after, but it did seem like I brought a lot of joy in his life. And with all the accomplishments I had as a kid, getting first place in different competitions, getting good grades in school, getting published in the national newspaper at the time, I was the pride. And whenever we go in the streets in the market, people recognize him, right? Because he was a teacher for a long time. And we would be really proud to show me off. And I did feel quite a bit of pride. Yeah, there was a lot of adjusting, I would say. Just the schools. It's funny. I think Canadian schools, even elementary schools in general, or primary schools, they weren't very, it didn't seem like, I don't know if the quality of the teachers necessarily better or worse. I think a lot of teaching is probably from experience, right? No matter where you are in the world. That's my experience anyways. We're knowing how to work with kids, and I think it's a very, very universal thing. I was picked on quite a bit by this girl, and this is, I don't know if it was a race thing, but I did feel like socially I was slowly, it was like an outcast, right? Like I was, so there's this girl that was making fun of what I was wearing, making fun of what my mom brought me to school, and she would just keep on picking on me. I remember when, I think the second day of school, we were arguing about what my name is. So my name is Zhang, and then and spelled Chang, which is Chang. And yeah, she was correcting my own name in this new country. She named me before anybody else. Chang. So Chang, which is probably the right way to pronounce it, the American way how it's spelled. I'm not gonna pass on that. It's fine. Let's not get too deep into this. Oh yeah, I was in ESL. I couldn't wait to get out of there though. I think there was this shame, right? You always want to feel like you can get by, right? And also they also put out just all the Asian people in ESL, so it was pretty obvious that you're certainly not cool. And yeah, I was trying really hard to prove myself in that room. I don't remember. Okay, in Taiwan, like my mom would send me to these after-school programs where she would hire these college kids. I think there are two of them, and one of them would teach me computer. So he was a computer science major at this university in Taiwan, Tsinghua University, and he would teach me how to make websites. He would teach me like Orlin's C and just computer science, right? And they have their own culture. Internet was just starting. There's BBS, and there was like FTP, Gopher, all these new things we were playing with. They were pirating stuff for sure. At some point when I moved to Canada, I brought all of that along with me, along with some background in art and design. So I was pretty good at Photoshop. And at the time, I think there was front page. Is it front page? Front page Netscape Communicator, which gave you the more YC wig. What you get? Website design. And I started with tutorials, and slowly I was getting involved in this community called freewebhostingspace.com, I believe, and they have a bulletin board full of people looking for web designs, and there are people that are like web hosting resellers looking for designs. And I slowly branched out to other types of businesses, real estate. It was like a shoemaker, and I did different things, so they were paying me. I remember a logo used to cost like $300, and the website, they used to charge by the page, right? And I don't remember if hosting came with it. Probably not. 500. I think the most I made was supposed to be having like 3,000 for a website. Oh yeah, there was a story about there's this guy. His name is, let's call him Joe. He was running a real estate. At some point, he figured out that the fastest one to the internet is gonna really grow his business in Alberta. And he was Alberta. Yeah, it was Alberta. And he wanted to hire me, I think, for 50,000 Canadian, and for me to move there to work full time as a web guy. Didn't take it, but obviously. But yeah, but I also knew in the back of my mind that I'm stepping into territories where my mom potentially have to get involved. Oh, yeah. So yeah, the bowling, I do remember. Okay, so back in the 90s, there was already like a popular kid, loser kid culture. That's probably just like something that happens to every school. But in Canada, in particular, the dividing line, like because there were a lot of Asian immigrants, right? So you can probably guess what happened. But anyways, like I would get my gym bags stolen. I would confront them. So this would be on a day-to-day, not day-to-day basis, but like little occurrence here and there. And I didn't get physically beat up, but you can sense it. You can sense this sort of like superiority they have over you in hallways, and or maybe it's my own insecurity as an immigrant. But I would rush home, and I would have like I remember I would have my auto sacks in my one hand. I would walk home as fast as I could, and I would wait until the pirated version of Photoshop is done downloading at 3.5 kilobytes per second. That would have taken the whole day, and I would wake up 5 in the morning to make websites and designs and try to make money online. And it was all very exciting. I was a big fan of computer literature too, from like PC magazines. I don't know about Business Week back then, but I remember there's this magazine called British one called Computer Arts, and what do you call it, and .net, and they would come with these demo CDs which would have games on it and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's all very fun on a 15-inch CRT monitor. The business, okay, so the business is both fun from a technology standpoint, right? It's like things are changing. I remember the Pentium processors would get 100 megahertz it seems every month or every other month. And then so the computer's getting faster. There's different gadgets coming out, digital cameras, joysticks, and whatnot. The business is both something I found recognition of and something I'm good at, and it allowed me to buy things actually, right? So I would buy things on eBay and Yahoo auctions, and I would buy clothes and watches and gadgets, and it was my way. Internet became a way for me to be cool, to find cool, to learn how to be cool, and it worked well at the time. Yeah, David G was, I think he was an adult or a late teenager, but he had a hosting site, and he wanted me to at first it was he liked my designs, wanted me to make websites for him. Yeah, the way you say months on ICQ, it seems honestly like right now I wouldn't want my kids talking to strangers on Roblox, especially for months. But back then it was quite common, right, to meet strangers online and actually have these virtual friendships. I don't remember like when the last time this happened other than when I was like 13 or 14, but it was people get in chat rooms and they chat and they have these friends. Back then it was common, and I also had a few other contacts, so David was one of them, and it lasted for a few months. Yeah, he had given me like a Western Union number for this site I designed for him. And what really hurt, okay, first of all, the money didn't come through, right? He was telling me it came through, it didn't. He straight up told me on the phone that wasn't true, right? I was mad, but I was more mad that it seemed like I was taking advantage of both because of my age and possibly because I'm Asian. I'm not sure, and that still stings a little bit. But yeah, and then he was a friend, so I thought he was a friend. So it was my first taste of betrayal in like a business sense. Nah, I think I was probably more. I was because I was a kid. Whatever he could get away with. Look, it's not even about a friendship, right? It was just an example, right? There were more examples of this, like where their deals had gone, like where I couldn't sign the contract because I was so young. But the David one stood out because I thought I knew him, and he straight up lied to me in my face over the phone. So yeah. Oh, I don't know about learning to stun in the subtlest way. Yeah, I'll buy like a polo shirt with Tommy Hilfiger on it, and that was a big deal to me. I realized that bought me some recognition, confidence, and people would ask about it, and that'll be cool. So that went along for a while. I think that started in an early age, that money can get you clothes, and clothes could get you, if anything, this false sense of confidence and maybe respect from certain kind of people. Yeah, so two big sites that I could actually buy from back then was, and this is peer-to-peer. They're also, I think Newegg was around back then too, because I was buying computer parts, but I think the more interesting stuff that were being sold were on eBay. And back then, Yahoo actually had an auction site, so Yahoo Auctions. I forgot who bought them, but and then there were, I don't know, PayPal wasn't around back then yet. So I would buy these money orders. I would wait in line to go to at the post office. I'd buy these money orders and I would send them through mail, and I would buy all the stuff I want. And I can't have it shipped to my house because my mom would find out. And back then it took 2 weeks to get there too. So I went to there's this place called Metrotown. This is in downtown Burnaby, and there was a postal shop store, and I rented a PO box where I could get all kinds of stuff in there, right? I would buy, there's these subscription books, like technical book stuff that I would get monthly that you have to return, that would go there. I win prizes, like I won these Calvin Klein glasses from this logo design contest that would go there. Checks coming in from, there's these pay to browse companies back then called All Advantage, and there's those other websites called eOpinions, some freelance sites where, and also checks coming in for my web design business. So all of that would go to that PO box, and all the gadgets that I would buy online with the money I make. I don't know if I would articulate it in such literary sense, pride or the hiding. I guess it's a little bit of both. I was just happy I was getting stuff. Yeah, I remember. Okay, so there's this logo design contest of this optometrist that held like back in there in England, and they sent me like these fancy, I think, sunglasses or glasses frames, and by the time I got to my PO box, it was gutted empty, it was stolen, and then they were nice enough to send another one. That was nice of them. So yeah, that was cool. Yeah, so when you get sent, when you come from where I come from, right, and I can show you some stuff I was inspired by, people I was inspired by in Taiwan. You go to the US or Canada or the Western world to make something of yourself. I knew that when I was 11, 10, and I knew that doing so would make my family proud. I don't know if my dad, mom gave me that pressure or they outright showed it. Everybody believed in me in some sort. The elementary school, my grandparents, there were a lot of people that thought that, made me think that I was the one. And when I got to the US with all this web internet stuff that was happening, my grades weren't doing that well. So it was working until my mom really stepped in, and first of all, she didn't recognize anything I was doing, right? She didn't appreciate any of the quote unquote accomplishments I had online, her business I was running, but she saw the grades dropping, and it was a stark reminder of why I was there. So it was fun and all until I was course corrected. Yeah, she just caught me, right? Like I was changing my clothes, trying to go to school. I think there was a routine I had, and she caught up to me. She ran out and saw me in the different clothes that I had put on earlier, and I was just decked out head to toe in these new stuff. It was in the carport. I remember vividly. She was standing on the other side of the car. It was a 97 Malibu, and then she ran back in to look for shit in my room, and she would flip over stuff, and there came out the joysticks, digital cameras I bought. Digital camera she was the most surprised about, because back then she couldn't afford it, and it was a lot of money. So yeah, it was like a Fujifilm something. Yeah, that was a big deal. But I was hiding a lot of stuff on the computer too. It was my early exposure to adult material online too, and then I think she found that out at some point, and yeah, that was hard. Not to like shock or try to make some lesson out of this, but more just kind of want to express like how difficult it is for a mother to navigate like those teenage years of a son's life, especially in a new world. And this media, this whole world of internet that she didn't know about, right? This is not like, she didn't find like dirty magazines under my bed. This is like online with all kinds of weird stuff they're doing, and it must have been hard for her. So she asked where I got the money, right? I think she's asking exactly that. Where did I get the money? Yeah, she didn't. I don't know what you're asking. That's what she meant. Where'd you get the money? Because I was scared. What you think? These are dumb questions. Oh, yeah. I tried to tell my daughter about this sort of, I try to relate to her, right? Because they want to buy stuff on Amazon. They want to buy stuff online. And what I want to do is try to kind of relate to her pain that I can't get everything I want. But I also felt the need to kind of tell her about the story, this fun story about me having a P.O. box. I don't know why. Maybe to show that I could problem solve. Maybe there's still a part of me that's a little bit proud of it. I want to tell her that I was faced with a problem and I got through it, and this is how. I stopped short of telling her that how it hurt my mom. Yeah, that's where I stopped. Dad, there's a reason why I'm so close to my mom. Yeah, that's possible. That's a little bit sad way to put it, a little bit pretentious of me. But yeah, I do remember that letter. Girl with a letter on the swing. I think more so than making sense of it, I would say it's been a pattern of me trying to relate to them in some way, somehow to engage them and listen to me, right? And I know that they will listen to about the PO Box story, whatever lesson that came from it. I guess we'll figure it out later. I don't want to put his business out, but he ended up moving from Taiwan, and he has his business in the US. I'm deeply grateful for him teaching me all there is to know about really making my immigration a lot easier. All right, he's the first American or a Caucasian, he's Canadian actually, person that I actually got to spend a lot of time with. He taught me a lot, and in hindsight he taught me a lot about what it means to be different too, because he was in Taiwan, and from where I was as a kid, I could kind of sense, I'd see all of that. I haven't been working on anything. I'm still trying to get this pipeline straight. The questions have been better, but yeah, like this is me trying to have some artifacts I can leave for my kids, have a version of my stories that I can tell to people. If you relate, it's great. I think being immigrant is hard, especially for somebody who like me, who struggled a lot with this idea of wanting to belong for years and years.